Are you a top company executive in financial services, healthcare, information and technology, construction, finance, accounting, or legal? Experts all agree that the key to remaining competitive and to grow and expand in today's dynamic digital economy may appear impossible. However, to those in the know, it's simple as selecting only the best talent in the marketplace and knowing just where to find them. One small problem. Like most entrepreneurs and dynamic executives, you're simply too busy. Don't have the time to assess and evaluate, nor deliver sensible and cost-effective solutions to finding the right personnel. Ever wonder how the big guys do it? Blue Cross Blue Shield, WebMD, Citigroup, TD Ameritrade, Morgan Stanley, Weight Watchers, Guardian, Avon. Ever wonder where they go to get the best in the marketplace? Stay tuned, because you're about to find out. Greetings, everyone, and welcome from the Technology Association of Georgia. This is Tech Talk, Tuesday, January 27, 2015. I'm your host, Frank Baia. Up to this edition of Tech Talk, comprehensive IT staffing solutions and executive search. That's right, it's an insider's look at an industry that has grown rapidly and has become more crucial with every day. We speak with Ira Martin, Executive Vice President and Chief Operating Officer at Atlantic Partners Corporation. Ira is responsible for the day-to-day operations of the company as he works with other top executives focusing on expanding the firm's market share globally, as well as overseeing the firm's executive search division and the launch of Atlantic Partners mergers and acquisitions. It's a tech talk that covers it all, from staff augmentation to direct placement. The honesty, the integrity, hard work, and commitment in partnering for ultimate performance with a client. Find out just what it takes and what every business executive needs to know to succeed fulfilling human capital needs. Fortune 500 company to the most challenging demands of the smaller mid-sized firms, this Tech Talk turns IT solutions inside out as we speak with one of the industry's top thought leaders, Executive Vice President and COO of Atlantic Partners Corporation, Ira Martin. This edition of Tech Talk is brought to you by GlobalSpeak.com, new media consultants, corporate video and audio communications, video and audio production and distribution, live and virtual event production. Tag TV and Tag Radio is a service of GlobalSpeak.com, creatively delivering powerful marketing, video, and audio solutions. Ira, welcome to Tech Talk.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Well, I can tell you that anyone that knows Atlantic Partners Corporation knows that from a unique standpoint, from a very special standpoint, a lot of times, especially in the sea of competition, the way that the industry and the sector works, there's a lot of the same old going on. But then there are certain people that are doing it better, and they're doing it with a passion, and they're doing it with a personality that simply has no other duplication. So one of the things I really want the audience to know and understand is a little bit about your history. So take a moment to explain just who Atlantic Partners Corporation is, and then give us a little history about the organization.
Great. So Atlantic Partners is an IT staff augmentation firm. We also do contract to hire and direct placement. The company CEO, Monroe Gang, has been in the business for over 35 years. It's a father and son, family-owned business. And I guess the interesting thing, to your comment about the same old, is I have a combination of old-school service-to-client mentality with a young tenured group, of professionals on one side, which would be the recruiting side, and a tenured group of account executives. So I think we have the best of both worlds. And as it relates to, the same old, best practices are something that are taken very serious. Has Atlantic Partners in a position to be best places to work, along with fastest growing IT staff augmentation and direct placement firms in the United States.
Well, a lot of times people try to, they'll say, can you go to school to learn innovation? Can you go to school to learn to be an entrepreneur? When you talk about integrity, when you talk about character, when you talk about commitment, those are the kind of things you either have and you know and understand and do it over years of building experience or going through experiences. Maybe go into just a little bit about the founders and the kind of character, the kind of trust and integrity that they have.
Okay, so, with respect to integrity and character, and I think client servant would be I think, word or description that comes to mind. As I mentioned, our CEO has been in this business for 35 years. He is, humble and won't tell you. That's probably why I'm on the interview. A top 10 account executive in the country for more than 3 decades. And our Fortune 500 and 100 clients, for the most part, have been brought to the table by himself and a few other, tenured account executives. So with respect to the clients, most of them go back, 2 decades, and we're talking about big box clients, Prudential, Guardian, Morgan Stanley, Saks, Michael Kors, just to name a few, JetBlue. So with respect to integrity, we just believe in fair market value and being a servant to the client.
Well, anyone that knows, again, the company, that's to say they know integrity and professionalism. Anyone that knows you and your background, it's got to be excitement, dynamic, energy-packed. Tell us a little bit about some of your background, and maybe go into a little bit about, after such a career, why did you decide to join Atlantic Partners Corporation?
Okay, sure. Be happy to. So upon graduation from Hofstra University in Long Island, New York, I entered the insurance field, and I spent until 2004 in the insurance field. But my business was catered to professional athletes. I represented approximately 50 NHL hockey players and 25 professional football players. Right. It was a family office type business. That's a very, I guess, prevalent word today. Back in the day when I started my business, it wasn't, but it's an opportunity and an operation where you take care of all the off-the-field matters under one roof, whether it be legal, tax, and all the normal affairs that concern an athlete's life. So yes, the general public thinks it's exciting. Unfortunately, they don't get to see what goes on behind the scenes, but it was a career that, lasted close to 30 years, and right around 2000, I was fortunate enough to sell the company and go to corporate America and, gain and garner some, corporate executive experience. And at that time, when I left corporate America, I had 200 direct reports. So with respect to excitement, yes, and acumen, I was able to take my sales and recruiting background, which is really where, my desire to be involved with recruiting, I guess, emulated. Not in the tech space, but, we always say recruiting's recruiting, but with the professional athletes.
Well, I probably slipped into the perception from the movie when they say, show me the money, when we talk about so many great athletes and those kind of things. I can kind of envision you being into that realm. But yet the other side, the fact of the matter is, the business needs to be conducted. They need probably more management help, or as much as management help as any of us do, in terms of the kind of things, the services that you were provided. So I would guess that it was probably some tough customers, but also you delivered and managed them as effectively as you would any other client that you're currently working with today. Let's talk about the recent year, because I think there's some things that I know from some of our conversation. The company had a pure growth plan. But what initiatives last year aligned and contributed to the company's growth?
Oh, that's a great question. I appreciate you even asking. So we had 3 initiatives, and the main reason for again for me joining the firm was we had an already successful company with 29 quarters of growth, and the goal of the company, which really captured my attention, was that they wanted to continue to grow. And I noticed that a lot of agencies get stagnant and they're okay with mediocrity. But 3 initiatives. One was we wanted to put college students to work, and this is not new for any agency or firm in recruiting, be it technology or any other vertical. But in most cases, the turnover rate and the training that goes into that don't really yield the results that we have. We've been able to take hardworking college graduates and put them to work, and I think what's interesting is that a lot of our business is diversified amongst 14 states, so they get to work on advanced requirements with a 20 20-year veteran. Our director of recruiting has over 20 years experience, and rather than just make the recruiter a number, it's a family business. We treat them like family, and not to sound redundant, but the investment that we make in them is a long-term, front-end loaded investment. And the results, both for the clients, have been spectacular. But what the real interesting thing or dynamic is the culture. So we have a culture of tenured account executives. As I mentioned, our division president in the Atlanta area is a retired CTO, and we now have in the recruiting arm, 5, college graduates, some who are pursuing an MBA. So the culture is tremendous, and I think there's something to be said about learning, at all phases in life. So we're learning from the young tenured people, they're learning from the seasoned veterans, and the results both on, I would attribute that to us having our best year, which we did last year, but it's tremendous. So that would be initiative one, and we continue to add, 1 or 2 people a month. The second, and I think real interesting initiative, is we watched the Wounded Warrior commercials. We have one of our senior recruiters here is a former Marine. We wanted to get involved in something that wasn't media driven, and it's under the radar screen. It's not something we actively promote outside the company, but we started a program about 6 months ago. We just launched it, where we actually pay for training for veterans who are returning and teach them a 7-week course to get them certified in different areas of technology. And we just put through our first class, and we're really excited, and we're getting ready for our second class, and we anticipate being able to put over 50 to 100 veterans who are returning to work in the technology field this year. And the last initiative was, when I came on board, was that the CEO and the president, one is Monroe Gang, the CEO, the son David Gang, and I wanted to get into another vertical outside of technology. So we were able to do a merger with South Florida's #1 accounting and finance firm, and we completed that merger back in October.
Wow, that's great. Well, one of the things that I know a lot of our listeners will be kind of glad to hear, there's a lot of news and a lot of information about the competition as far as being the next great technology center and where the growth and the dynamics are happening. One of the things, again, that I know from our conversations in the past is that you had a conscious choice about Atlanta. Why was Atlanta chosen as a business opportunity location?
Again, I appreciate the question. I'm happy to answer. I don't think it's any newsflash to anybody. There's approximately 900 companies in the perimeter, and again, I think an oversaturation of agencies. But Atlanta is a tech hub. I don't think that's news to anybody. But for us, we looked at some acquisitions. We wanted to be in Atlanta. But going back to your point about integrity and credibility, we didn't want to be there. Atlantic Partners never wanted to be in any market without having the people first. In most cases, what businesses do is they have to have the business before they have the people, and that's the reverse philosophy here. So we were fortunate that we had a person by the name of Dorothy Parks, who's our division president, join Atlantic Partners back in August. I think what's even more interesting is that she was a client of Monroe Gang's for a decade prior to joining us. So here's I think the interesting point is she had the opportunity to join one of hundreds of agencies in Atlanta, but chose to come and pursue a career with us because she had the opportunity to sit on the other side of the desk and witness firsthand all the things that we spoke about, being able to deliver on a requirement, speed to the market, quality control. So the answer really is we wanted to come to Atlanta like every other agency, but we wouldn't come to Atlanta until we had the right person to represent Atlantic Partners and Atlanta.
Well, I think as we quickly come to a close, one of the things that I'd be remiss in not bringing up is I know that you feel pretty strong about your relationship with the TAG Technology Association of Georgia. Maybe go into a little bit for our listeners, many of which are TAG members and fully know and have utilized the networking opportunities and the information and education opportunities that TAG represents. But how has the organization TAG impacted or maybe even facilitated your operational goals?
Okay, sure. First of all, let me just say, being a company based in South Florida, touching 14 states, I found the organization, to be very robust on the onset. And as a former teacher and trainer for many chambers of commerce, I was actually taken back with how robust and in-depth the organization is. Many states don't even offer, such an opportunity. But I think, making the decision to be one of the 340 premier members out of, I believe, 3,400 members has impacted our opportunity the most. You mentioned networking, and I think when people think about networking, they think about going to a bunch of meetings and exchanging business cards. And what I kind of say is it's about stuff, supplies, time, understanding, finance, and friends, where people actually share their stuff. And that's one of the things that, or attributes that we are finding with TAG. We are finding tremendous support with the relationship folks, but what it's done for my division president is it's given her a forum to show up and meet with like-minded people. And one of the things when you join organizations such as TAG or Chamber is you want to have peer-to-peer opportunities, and I would say that those peer-to-peer opportunities have helped facilitate and given us a good entry point into the Atlanta market.
One of the things about peer-to-peer is a two-way street, and that is that the other peers that are there that you'd like to meet are anxious to meet the kind of quality people that I think Atlantic Partners represents. And so as we quickly come to a close, I want to say thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to share some pretty interesting and entertaining and exciting information, not only about the organization, but about its character and purpose. And thank you for taking time to join us for a few minutes today on Tech Talk.
Well, thanks for having me on the program.